As managers, we have a lot we need to be concerned about. But one of the challenges that baffles a lot of managers is how best to deal with the hybrid work environment. So this is for those of you who have teams in a traditional corporate office environment where in the past you would have had a normal Monday to Friday work week, but now that's a bit shifted and it's not always working for the best. So in this video, I want to talk about 5 things that you can do as a manager to help your teams adapt and work in a hybrid work environment effectively. Before lockdown, in what I call the before times, standard work week was Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., pretty standard, some variation of that. And that was a normal work week. And after lockdown, offices started to open up, start going back into the office, but it was never 100%. Now, there are some exceptions. Some companies did expect their employees to come back just like it was, pretend that the pandemic never happened. But most organizations acknowledged that a change had taken place and they had to recognize that their employees are going to expect some time is going to be at home, some time is going to be in the office. This is hybrid work. So hybrid work has some benefits, but it has some drawbacks. Sure, we get a chance to sleep in the morning, not have to rush to get out of the door. That's kind of a nice way to wake up, easy way to start the day. We don't have to worry about the long commute into the office and dealing with that amount of stress. And it gave us flexibility. We could take care of some family stuff or some things around the home in addition to doing our office work. It was very effective in that way. A lot of people like that. I liked it, but it wasn't perfect and it had some drawbacks. In the before times, Monday to Friday was our standard work week. We knew where we were going to be Monday morning. We knew where we were going to be Wednesday afternoon. We knew where we were going to be on Friday. We were going to be in the office, no question. But with hybrid work, that's out the window. You know, this week we might be in the office, we might not be in the office. Hard to say, who knows? And this is where the first challenge of hybrid work comes in, is this level of inconsistency. Now, it's not a big deal. We're all professionals, we can make this work. The challenge is that most of us, and if you're a manager and you've got a team, many of your employees are actually going to work better in a consistent environment. And this level of uncertainty, it's a small little thing, just adds this background hum to the stress that they're already dealing with through the week. And this is not a great thing. Now, there are some people who do like chaos, and if you're one of those people, great. But remember, if you're managing a team, most of your people don't like that chaos. Well, the second challenge to hybrid work, and it was a personal thing that frustrated me, is you go to the effort of getting ready to go to the office, you commute to the office, go through all that process, which is fine. You get into the office and you find that nobody else has shown up that day. You're the only one that's been there. And you spend your entire day in online meetings in an empty office. How frustrating is that? How isolating is that? You know, how lonely is that? And where you've made the effort and yet no one else has, and you might as well have stayed home for your trouble. The next issue with hybrid work, and this is probably the one that's going to be the most detrimental to your employees, is the lack of proper connection and development. So what basically happens is when you're in a hybrid work environment, you're not building the same kinds of relationships you did back in the before times. You just don't have those kinds of casual connections, those one-off conversations, that leaning around the pod wall just to ask somebody a quick question because it's easy and they're right there. You're not developing those relationships. And this is problematic as a manager because it's been shown that employees are not getting the same level of feedback as they did before. And this is especially difficult and challenging in technical fields like engineering. Employees just aren't getting the feedback like they might have in the previous times. What does this mean? Without that kind of feedback, they're not getting the kind of development that they need to progress their career forward. Furthermore, they're not getting a chance to connect with more senior employees, other leaders that might be able to guide them, that might be able to mentor them into the next level, into the next stage of their career. And as a result, is it any wonder that employees feel like people don't care about them? People don't think about their development, or they're not seeing the kind of development that they think is possible and that they want to see. It's just not happening as it might have in the previous times. And if employees are feeling this way, they're a flight risk. That is a problem. It took decades, if not generations, to build the Monday to Friday system that we were all familiar with before. And that brought along with all the other infrastructure and expectations and schedules that went along with that Monday to Friday system. And here we are. We're only like a couple of years after lockdown, and we're still just at the beginning of trying to figure out how hybrid work is supposed to actually work. Of course we're not effective at it. Of course we haven't figured it out. We don't know what we're doing yet, fully. But here are 5 things that you can do right now with your team to start making the hybrid work environment easier for them, more effective, and help in their development. Number 1, set expectations and set a structure. So pick certain days during the week when the expectation is that this will be the in-office day. Maybe it's a Monday and a Tuesday, maybe it's a Wednesday and a Friday, whatever. Whatever works for you and your team, pick those dates and stick to it and make sure everyone knows those are the days. Number 2, ensure you plan for in-person interaction. So on the days that you are in the office, make sure you're making time for the chances to bring people together. So these could be your team meetings, these could be engagement sessions, these could be your one-on-one meetings, anything that allows people to, first off, get face time with each other, but also make sure that there's time for people to have just idle chit-chat and connect with each other just as humans. Ensure that there is interaction. Number 3, and this is going to sound like a bit of a contradiction given my last point, but also make sure you have time to allow people to actually get their work done. One of the main complaints about coming back to the office for a lot of employees is they don't feel like they're being productive. They go in and they don't feel like they can have time to do the work they need to do, and they'd much rather be at home because at least they were getting things done. So make sure if you're going back into the office, you create space and time for them to actually get down and do work. This is the quiet work. As I'm walking over a highway, I'm talking about quiet work, but I'm hoping you get the point. We want to make sure that they can feel productive, and that means giving them that time. Just a quick aside about introverts and extroverts. So as a manager, you need to remember that some of your employees are going to be more introverted and some of your employees are going to be more extroverted. And as a result, the in-office environment, you need to make sure you're balancing the experience for your employees. So extroverts, they get energy by spending time and interacting with a lot of people. That fills them up. Introverts are not necessarily antisocial, but interactions drain them throughout the course of the day. And you want to make sure the kinds of things that you're planning for the in-office experience for your employees are balanced between interacting with each other, which would help your extroverts, as well as quiet time with to do detailed work and focused work, which will work better for your introverts. Point number 4 is to mix up your communication tools. So we've been talking about in-office experiences, but we also have to keep in mind what is the remote work experience like. You want to make sure that you're using all the tools that are available to you, so you're ensuring that your employees are not burning themselves out. For example, if all their meetings are online, that's exhausting. I know I've felt it, I'm sure you've felt it as well. Being on camera the whole time is just draining. So you want to make sure you're using this strategically. Really think about when does it make sense to be on camera. And the times that work best is if you're having some kind of employee engagement, you're wanting to make sure people's reactions are seen, or if you're in a situation where you really are trying to solve a problem and you need everyone's attention and engagement. That's when an on-camera meeting is most effective. But if you're going through a presentation, Sometimes you don't necessarily need to be on camera. Make sure you give permission to your employees to turn off their cameras and give them a visual break while they are working through the material. Alternatively, sometimes maybe a phone call will work. Give them a chance so they don't even have to be in front of their computer, yet they can talk to you or talk to each other in a more relaxed manner. And of course, chat is a very good use, a tool to get a quick answer, but also have some fun, share some memes, get a joke out to the team. And then you've got email. If you've got something detailed that requires a bit more time, more contemplation required, sometimes an email is a better format to give them that space to read, think about what has been said, and then formulate a reply. So when you're in these remote work situations, use the tools to their maximum capability to give your employees variety and not force them down one particular channel. Before I get to tip number 5, if this has been helpful, make sure you click the like button. Okay, final tip number 5. The thing you want to do as a manager is model the behavior that you want to see in your employees. You want to make sure that you are walking the walk, talking the talk. So if you say Monday's our day to be in the office, then be in the office on Monday. Also, make sure you're communicating that in advance. Let them know, hey, see you in the office on Monday. Looking forward to our chance to be in the office. Oh, hello, dog. Hi there. Likewise, if you are wanting to give them permission to have quiet work and detailed work, make sure you sit down at your desk or in the office space and that you are spending time to do quiet and detailed work so they can see that this is important as well and it's allowed. Likewise, on the flip side, make sure you are demonstrating what it looks like to just have a casual office conversation. Not like this is hard, but sometimes, especially if you're out of practice, you may not think to reach out to the people around you. Demonstrate that behavior. Make sure that they can see it and that this is okay in your office environment. And that's tip number 5, model the behavior. Was this helpful? Also, is there anything that you would do differently or you would add to this? Let me know in the comments before. Let's get some of these ideas out there. And if you're looking for more tips, I have a free top 100 things you need to do as a new manager. Link it below. Download your copy now. Nice little checklist for you to work your way through. Aimed at new managers, but if you're an experienced manager, might give you some tips. Anyway, my name is Matthew Devine. I'm a leadership coach based here in Toronto, Canada. And until next time, let's get to work.